it says it's recording on my end.
Good. I'm also recording. Okay. There we go. So I also have it recording within my browser, so I've got 2 videos. I think I'm going to do this for all my videos moving forward, just in case there's any.
Got everything.
Yeah, I had such good luck with any meeting to start, and then it's been a little more hit or miss, so we'll see. All right. Well, Greg, welcome back to Drunk Comics. Thank you for
always
returning.
Nice to be here.
Cheers. So what comic are we going to talk about today?
The Dark Knight Returns. It's a classic by Frank Miller. Art.
Excellent choice.
It's top-notch. The story is timeless, and I think in today's world it's become even more relevant.
Maybe a little too relevant. This is not the comic I wanted to see in our world.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that.
Me neither.
But go ahead and tell the story. It's a good comic, but
oh yeah,
I don't want to look around and recognize it.
Okay, well, it starts off, we've got Gotham City, but in like an 80s-esque future. Or at least that was the future then, or at least what Frank Miller feared the future would end up being like. And you've got like an older Bruce Wayne. He's stopped being Batman for like 10 years or so. And he's at the point of his life where he's basically looking for a good death, something to help him sort of end things. Because without Batman, he feels like he doesn't really have much of a purpose. And he had sworn to never do it again after we find out later in the story the death of Robin, Jason Todd. I mean, of course, we know now that little bit of Dark Knight Returns has been adapted into full-on continuity with the Death in the Family story that came about later on.
Yep.
And so he's trying to do all this stuff. He's drinking heavily, like he hangs out with Jim Gordon to sort of celebrate the 10-year anniversary of his retirement. And he notes that he's drinking pretty heavy, not sipping that ginger ale to try to pretend it was champagne. He's driving a race car. He gets in accidents. Even on his way home, like he challenges some gang members who are about to try and mug him, but they run off.
Poor Bruce.
Then one night he ends up watching TV. He's clicking through everything, just a lot of talking heads, just talk about how horrible the world is, and the president's doing this and that, and people are dying, and totally not relevant today.
Nope, don't recognize anything. Yeah. Well, is the sky orange? Let's check that.
Actually, no, he's Reagan.
Yeah. No, sorry, it's the sky, not the president. Is the sky orange?
Let me check. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was at night when this happened, but no,
okay, and that's okay.
It's not in California.
Well, and on the East Coast, the sky is not orange, even in our world, so we're okay. So we're still paralleling.
Yeah. So he's flipping through channels, and he comes upon The Mark of Zorro, which was the movie he went to see with his parents, and they left that, and it was when they left that the gunman, the mugger, shot his parents, and his life just changed from then on. And so he starts to react to that, and he's flipping channels, like there's more horrible news stories coming up, and then there's like this voice going in his head, like, you can't keep me trapped, you can't ignore me any longer, you can drink, you can do whatever, but you know that you can't just ignore me. And so And the stories, like on the TV, they're like sort of getting, like I said, progressively worse and worse. And eventually it ends up on this whole weather report, like there's a big storm coming and everything. And that sort of foreshadows Batman's return. And he like runs out like in a daze, like he's like he can't just trying to get away from his own head basically. Like he smashes into a statue, he runs out into the rain, he's catching his breath, and it's like he's being baptized basically. I think that's the imagery they're going for. And like
Bruce, you're a hot mess.
he's definitely a mess. He lifts his head, he gets like that serious look in his face, like the bad eyes, the bad glare kind of thing. And sort of invoking another Miller book that he would write later on called Batman Year One. Like a bat crashes through the window, and then we cut to Batman basically just going around town kicking ass. He's stopping muggers, he's beating up a pimp, he stopped these gang members from harassing these two kids. One of them will end up being more affected than the other from this. And
spoilers.
Yeah, her name's Carrie Kelly. She'll end up being his Robin later on. And so
I think this is the first female Robin to show up in comics, if I remember right.
Yep, before then there was only Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. So he's back, Batman's back in action, and the different news channels are reporting on it. And the folks in power, they're not happy about this, obviously, because some guy take the law into their own hands. That's sort of a representation that they're not doing a good job, and takes away authority from them. We'll get more on that a bit later, but the people on the street, they're glad that Batman's back, that someone's actually standing up for them and making a difference. Like, one of the first things he does is take down Two-Face, who had come out of retirement pretty much around the same time as Batman, unrelated though. So first thing he does is catch him before he blows up this big tower. His next big thing is to take on the Mutant Gang. Now they're basically like a bunch of punk kids who go around, they kill people, they loot, they pillage, they're like a general nuisance. They're what Frank Miller imagined like the future youth to be like, basically. And they're led by...
You're wrong on that, because the youth of today are pretty awesome. They give me hope for the future, but sidebar. Okay, go on.
Frank Miller was never the most put together guy to begin with.
No.
Especially some of his more recent work. But, so, Batman decides to go after the Mutant Gang, more specifically, its leader. So he hears about a gathering that they're having at the dump, and so he goes there in his Batmobile, which is basically just a giant tank with like rubber that shoots rubber bullets and smoke bombs and stuff like that. It's very 80s.
Yeah.
Or actually, it's kind of 90s now that I think about it. They were all about the guns and the extras and all that. But anyway,
I was thinking, like, was Rob Liefeld involved in any way?
No, thank God. The art's unique, but it's not
Were the
bad.
coaches on it? No.
You don't have guys with white eyes and tiny feet and constantly making like those gritting faces, the gritty teeth and all that.
Yeah.
Or tons of pouches, guns blazing, all that.
Exactly. Oh my God.
All right, so character we mentioned earlier, Carrie Kelly, she's been inspired by Batman to sort of start taking action. Her parents are like a couple of hippies, and they just basically smoke pot and hang around. They don't really do much. they don't even notice that she's going out and doing stuff. And at one point, they're like, "Hey, did we have a daughter?" I don't know. So she's going out. She's basically bought herself like a knockoff Robin costume, and she starts doing. Well, she starts training herself. Like I guess they hint that she was like a former gymnast. She starts doing like street level. What a kid would think fighting crime would be. She puts like a cherry bomb in like the back pocket of this guy who's doing like one of those card table things, like pick the queen, like one of those things. Like street level stuff. And she hears that the mutants are meeting up at the junkyard, and she knows Batman's probably gonna show up, so she goes to watch. And so Batman starts basically taking apart the gang from inside the Batmobile. He's shooting rubber bullets at them. He's got the gas going. Eventually, the only one left is the mutant leader. Now, he's not an actual mutant. He's just like a giant, roided up guy with like no real brains. He just oozes violence, basically. And so he starts egging on Batman, telling him to come out and fight him like a real man and whatnot. And Batman takes the bait. He starts fighting him. And he's doing well for a little bit, but he forgets that he's an older guy now, and this guy's like in his prime, and so it doesn't go too well for him. Let's put it that way. He gets bruised, nearly broken, and about to get killed before Carrie Kelly steps in, basically, jumps on the mutant leader's back, tries to choke him out, get him off of him. It distracts him long enough for Batman to basically like get like some putty, throw it in the guy's face, and basically knock him out. And then Carrie brings him like back to the Batmobile. She puts a sling on his busted arm, and they introduce themselves to each other. And he tells Alfred, who's like controlling the Batmobile from like, I'm guessing it's like some remote whatever, like what they do in Batman v Superman, like the drone kind of thing.
Right.
So he has them bring it back to the cave and tells them that Robin's coming with them. So
Alfred's like, what? Has Bruce completely lost it?
He definitely thinks that. Yeah, here's another character who's seen a lot and definitely needs a break. Especially more recently. I mean, like right now in comics, he's dead.
Yes.
Definitely didn't like that move, but DC's been having problems of their own already. So, anyways, so they get to the Batcave, and Batman goes like deep into the cave. He's taking off his old suit and everything, and he's basically looking for a sign, basically telling him to, hey, keep going, sort of like what he had earlier. And the bat comes flying out at him again from deep inside the cave, because Miller's all about symbolism.
Bruce, it's not a sign. You just need to call an exterminator.
So by this point, a good number of the mutants have been caught and arrested, and the mutant leader has been captured by the police because Batman was able to, like, basically stop him, knock him out. He didn't necessarily beat him, but he incapacitated him enough so that the cops could get him. And
good job.
Yeah, and the mayor is like this wormy little guy. He's all about like public image, and the guy's like really spineless, and he's talking about like negotiating with the mutant leader. You don't negotiate with a guy like that. And since his numbers are down, he wants to be seen as strong and competent, so he goes to negotiate. And
then you don't negotiate with terrorists, dumbass.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the other commentaries that Miller's making in this. And he also names the person who will be Gordon's successor a character named Ellen Yindel. She'll be like the next commissioner after him, someone who's very anti-Batman.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. So he goes in to speak with the mutant leader. He tells the security guards to like stay outside. He needs to be seen as strong. The numbers will look good for him afterwards. But the guy just rips his throat out and kills the mayor, basically.
Woo!
Yeah, so that's why you don't negotiate with terrorists.
One of the many, many reasons, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Showed him. He learned. No, he didn't learn. Someone else learned.
He learned for
his
like a fraction of a
master.
second before the knowledge and everything else just went out
He
of his
was
head.
like, oh, this
Yeah, I
was a
should have
dumb
done
idea.
that.
Yeah. Good
So,
call. Good call, Mr. Mayor.
all right, so back at the cave, Batman's got on like a newer, darker costume on. He's got like a black symbol now. And he's talking with Alfred about Carrie. He thinks that with her help that he might be able to put an end to the mutant problem once and for all. Like, she's young, she's skilled, she's like in touch with how the world is right now. And Alfred reminds him about what happened to Jason. And he's like, I'll never forget him. He was a good soldier. He honored me. But the war, it goes on. So first thing he
But Alfred's
does,
like, not this shit again, Bruce.
yeah. Well, by that point, he's like a heart attack away from dying himself. So he's probably just hoping it all ends soon. So first thing Batman does is have Carrie Kelly sort of dress herself like one of the mutant gang members and just sort of infiltrate them, start getting word spread through like the other members that there's gonna be like some meeting at a place called the Pipe. It's like this big open sewer, like where all the crap just basically comes out. It's over by the dump or whatever. And so Batman
Sounds like a cool place to hang out.
It's the 80s, man. So
I mean, that's how the Ninja were made, so yeah. Anyways, go on.
Right. So he reasons that you can't hold a gang like the mutants like in prison. There's way too many of them. What you gotta do, you gotta humiliate them. You gotta take their leader. You gotta knock him down a peg. You gotta make it so that they won't want to be associated with them anymore. Stuff like that. And so he gets in touch with Jim Gordon, and he's able to arrange for him like basically the last bit of help that he can give to Batman is to leave the door open so the mutant leader can escape, and he sort of travels through these pipes which lead out to the opening where the rest of his gang is, and in front of everyone else, all the other mutant members, he beats up the leader in like a big pit of mud. See, now Batman's fighting smarter. He's by getting the guy covered in mud, he's able to slow him down. He's more on like his speed. He's more methodical with like the blows that he lands, the cuts he makes. Eventually, he's able to just beat him down into the mud, break his limbs, and just shocks everyone. Some of them are even inspired to start up a whole new gang, the Sons of Batman, which he is not associated with, but basically they go around and fight crime or what they perceive as crime in their own lethal way. So
he's like, well, slightly better.